2 years ago, I attended an introductory college class where I initially disliked a guy. Despite my initial feelings, we went for food, marking our first date. We spent extensive time together, leading to cohabitation with friends in the fall and our own apartment in March 2023. I was immensely happy, although in retrospect, it was an unhealthy dynamic. Managing his severe ADHD and depression, I handled daily tasks, class responsibilities, and social commitments, often burning out due to the imbalance. Despite my anxiety and panic attacks, I continued because of love. In spring 2023, I devoted myself to prevent him from failing a class, risking expulsion. I cooked, cleaned, and provided unwavering support. During summer internships and after adopting a cat, he questioned our relationship. This led to my depression, impacting my job search, but he returned, promising never to leave. Following a family reunion, uncertainties about our relationship resurfaced. The cycle of wanting to leave and stay repeated, causing emotional turmoil. In mid-September, he insisted it wouldn't work, leading me to move back to my parents' house with the cat. 2 weeks later, he regretted his decision, crying and asking for reconciliation. We went on a date, with promises of never hurting me again and proving the right choice. Every time he said he wanted to leave, I begged him not to. I begged him to talk to me, to tell me what was wrong so I could fix it. I did absolutely everything in my power to try to fix the relationship and get him to stay. So when he said he wanted me back that last time, after sobbing in my arms, of course, I said yes. I did make him acknowledge just how much trust I was putting in him, but I went back. I didn't want to lose what I had because I loved it, and I loved him. We were planning to have me stay nights at our apartment, but I would mostly be living with my parents. But not even 2 weeks later, he said he wanted me to move out fully. He said he didn't want me, and he never would. He said that he was never really happy for those last 2 weeks and that he wasn't ever really happy with me. He said all of this to me on our 2-year anniversary. I was done with being used and then abandoned over and over again, and this being the 6th time, I lost my temper. I slapped him across the face. He punched me in my diaphragm and I couldn't breathe. He had a panic attack because of trauma, and I had to call his sister to get her to help him. I did not go back to that apartment, but a few days later, his sister began texting me asking what I wanted to keep. They had spent the day packing up all of my stuff, and told me I had to come get it at a time and day they specified. They told me that a lot of things I bought with my money weren't actually mine and that I couldn't have it. My boss is an amazing person and took the next day to help me go get all of my stuff. The guy I was in a relationship with had a panic attack because we showed up when he wasn't expecting us and told me I had to give him my keys. I refused, and he and my dad started fighting because he wouldn't let me take my name off of the lease. Later that week, his sister texted me and called me a heartless bitch and refused to talk to me. I called him to ask him to get his sister to leave me alone, and he told me he hated me and didn't ever want to be around me again. He still has a good chunk of my stuff and still won't let me off of the lease, even though he won't let me live there anymore. And he's demanding I pay rent even though I'm not allowed to live there, and I now have to pay rent for a new place. We are both part of leadership for the robotics team, so I have to see him at least 2 times every week. I'm broken. I never want to trust anyone ever again. And I'm left wondering how much of that relationship was a lie, and he just started dating me because he was lonely. He's been dating since elementary school, with over 7 exes, and was only not dating for 2 months before he started dating me. I gave everything to that relationship, and I ended up getting PTSD and being blamed for everything. He's made me a villain and telling me I stole stuff from him, and I stole the cat, even though I only took what I knew was mine, and he told me to take the cat. Now he's using me for my money, and it just burns. Thanks for listening, and I'm sorry it's so long, but I have nightmares every single night about him, and I just need to get it out. I had a pretty crazy situation happen to me recently. I've been single for about 4 years. My last relationship ended right before the pandemic. Since things opened up, I've been on a lot of first dates that didn't go anywhere. I also live in Seattle, which seems to be particularly rough with dating. Back in April, I met this amazing girl on Hinge. We had some mutual friends, similar interests, and we pretty much hit it off right away. She's also very beautiful and amazing in bed. We started off taking it slow. After telling me about her dating history, it seemed like she had been hurt a lot in the past. cheating boyfriends, some sexual abuse, pretty bad stuff. But she seemed to trust me and was opening up to me, really liked me. Even all our mutual friends told me how she was telling them how much she liked me, how she had never been treated better, etc. Then, about 3 months in, an ex-boyfriend popped up out of nowhere. She had told me about him, said they dated 10 years ago, and she had dumped him because he was insecure, bad at communicating, and would say mean things to her. Turns out, I actually know the guy too. Not close friends, but a guy that I was acquainted with. Kind of a weird dude, not bad, just socially weird, negative. I was shocked she had dated him actually. Here's the wild part. She lives a block away from me down the street. Turns out, pure coincidence that neither of us knew, he lives a block away from me in the other direction. One day, he saw her on the street and messaged her. She was shocked. After a few days, she decided to meet up with him, said that it would be good for closure. The night they met up, they ended up talking until 2 in the morning. The next day, she was telling me how he has been going to therapy for years and that he was able to talk about all the stuff that had happened. It seemed very heavy for her. She told him that she was dating me, kept telling me that I shouldn't worry or feel weird because she really likes me and definitely wants to date me. I should add this happened while I was on tour and she flew out to see me 2 days later on some days off. I'm a touring sound engineer for bands. We had a great time then, and I could feel like this was getting really serious. She flew home, and I was still out for a couple of weeks. During that time, she hung out with him a couple more times, but would tell me about it. Then when I got home, she's like, "Hey, can we talk about this ex-boyfriend situation? There's some feeling happening," she says. "I don't want to date both of you. I'm pretty sure I want to date you." He told her he was having feelings for her. I wasn't sure how to respond. We dated for another 2 weeks, but I could feel her getting distant. Finally, she tells me that it's too much for her to start something new with someone, and that there's already a history with him, and now that he's done all this work on himself, she needs to check this out. So she ended it. I'm pretty devastated. After all these years single, all these dates that went nowhere, to finally meet this cool, interesting, beautiful woman who seemed to really like me, and then have it implode in such a crazy way. I know it could have been worse. At least she was honest. She seemed genuinely bummed to hurt me like that. I also have to deal with having her almost next door to me, and be literally sandwiched in between them while dealing with heartbreak. Anyway, I just wanted to vent. Appreciate anyone having gone this far. It's my first time getting left for someone else, and damn, what a feeling that is. Thankfully, I haven't seen them together in the hood yet. It's taking me a while to get over the sting of getting dumped for another guy.